Hello and welcome to the Ram Show. This is our first show in 2018. It is January 7th, 2018. And thank you so much for joining us here. We got some great topics to talk about. One big one in particular. So we're gonna get to that. And with that being said, let me hit that and this. Hello, Zach. Okay, I think we're back. So as I was saying, hello, Zach.
Yes.
All right, we're back. Yay! System just crashed on me. But, okay, so I got some exciting news here. We're probably still a little ways out, but I paid off the truck this week.
Oh, so that means you can start putting money aside for your new computer?
Exactly. I got a few things that I need to do on the truck, but I'm going to start putting some money away. New position at work is paying me more, so there's some more money to be put away as well. So hopefully, I'm hoping within like the next 3 months maybe we can start, but realistically it might actually be 6 months. But anyway, a new computer is going to be on the way hopefully soon. I am super excited about that. So, and with that being said, means some content to be put up on the channel, things like that. I have to ask you a question, though, Zach. So, in terms of building a computer, because I've taken many a computer apart, cleaned them up, put them back together, things like that, and giving, because you know me and kind of my skill level, so how difficult is it going to be for me to build a computer?
You'll be fine. Easy peasy.
Okay. So the one thing that I'm a little like unsure about is like, okay, I know how to put the motherboard in, graphics card, yada yada yada, all that stuff is good. How exactly do you know where all the power cables go? And all the cables that you're supposed to plug into the motherboard. That is the
There
one
are
thing.
less of them than you think.
Are there? Okay. That is like the one thing that I'm not quite sure about. But anyway. Will you cover for me for a second? I have to. I'm in the middle of talking with Joe at the moment because he wasn't fast enough to respond back to me before we actually started the show. So,
Wait, what do you want me to? You want me to cover for you? How am I supposed to cover for you?
here's an idea. You could look at the rundown and give people an idea of what's coming up.
Right. Okay.
Which, if I remember correctly, um, oh, hey, Zach doesn't have it up. What a surprise!
Hey. I got no excuse. Sorry. I was about to like spew some excuse, and then I didn't have one, so whatever.
Oh, maybe Joe is actually watching because he just like before I even texted him, he started like texting me. So, um, if he is, he should let me know in his text message, or he could say hi on the chat too. So, I mean that's a thing. So, hey, he is watching the show right now. Hi, Joe. Zach,
Yeah.
you should say hi.
Woo.
The last time we had Joe on the show, it was not planned out, and he wasn't completely crazy about it, which is funny because he actually doesn't mind being in videos. Um, like, yeah, he doesn't actually mind being in videos, unlike somebody.
Get out of here.
Oh, come on, I had to give you a little crap about that. So. Speaking of which, you are still just a silhouette on like half of like on the other half of the double box. I really wish I actually had a picture of you that we could put in there. Um, somebody said that they were going to give me one at some point in time. That still hasn't happened yet.
It
So
wasn't me. I swear.
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
No,
So,
it wasn't.
Joe says hello in the chat. Hi. I almost called Joe Zach.
So, is this what we're gonna do for the next hour? Or... But we got some things to talk about.
We actually do have some topics to talk about, but you know how the show goes. We like to banter a little bit and then actually get into the topics. So, anyway, so I said what's new with me. Anything new with you? I'm guessing not.
Nope.
So,
That's how I like it.
Zach, you still don't have the rundown open. You forget that I can actually see whether you have it open or not. Anyway, I would appreciate it so you can follow along, but, I mean...
Oh, I'm busy coughing. Dying over here.
You could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, I'm going to need some water, actually. Like, for realsies.
So, all right. Let's get into this. All right. So, I don't know about you. I've talked about my feelings on these things before, but like artificial intelligent devices. So things like the Google Home and Alexa and what else? Nest thermostats and smart thermostats and things like that. So anyway.
A little bit gimmicky for me, I'd say, but
really,
I suppose there are some cases where it could actually be useful. And a door lock, maybe. A security camera.
No. Okay. I've talked about this before. Door locks? I don't think so. I think that is a bad idea.
On. See, now if you let me finish, I was about to add the caveat. If it's secure.
If it's secure. If. And if the company who manufactures it doesn't, brick it by accident.
Maybe. That would be a plus.
I don't remember what company that was, but that was a funny story. So anyway, or it can be exploited like the Amazon ones. Just saying. So anyway, all right. So the point behind them is they're supposed to make our lives easier. In particular, things like not so much smart locks, although I guess they could make your life easier, but like I'm specifically talking like thermostats and like maybe Wemo switches and things like that. Anyway, okay, so the other thing is with the internet now, it has opened up a huge potential for being able to obtain things that you shouldn't be obtaining very easily, infringing on copyright laws, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so here's a crazy idea, right? What if your ISP slowed your internet connection down if they caught you infringing on copyright laws?
Something, internet connection, something, copyright laws. That's what I caught.
Oh, great. Are you having internet issues again this week?
No, I'm not.
All right, actually, so
I'm not.
I will say this again. So, how would you feel about this? Okay? So, your ISP figures out that you are obtaining software or movies or content, that's a better word, content, illegally, therefore infringing on copyright laws. Right?
Okay.
And so in response to that, they slow your internet connection.
Here's the problem. It's not terribly difficult to get away with it.
If you know what you're doing.
So, I mean, there's kind of that, you might, I'm sure they would probably be throttling connections of people who don't know what VPNs are and then go trying to pirate some shows or whatever.
So, okay, so if you've been doing like a bit of BitTorrenting, for the holidays or anything like that, hopefully you're doing it legally.
BitTorrenting for the holidays, of course.
Hopefully you're doing it legally. Do I even need to put out there that like torrents are a fabulous way?
Torrents are legit. It's actually a legit thing. It's not just used for pirating.
Okay, that is
Sounds
true.
Crazy, right?
That is true, but it's also a fabulous way to get a virus.
That's true.
So yes. Anyway, so if you don't live in the northeastern portion of the so hopefully you're downloading legal content, and that you don't live in the northeastern portion of the United States, or else you might be in for a colder winter if you're caught pirating the latest Star Wars movie. So a warning letter from internet service provider Armstrong Zoom Internet, obtained by Torrent Freak, comes with some peculiar provisions. There we go. I looked at that word and it just didn't look right to me at first. Anyway, first, there's the standard "you're in for it if we catch you pirating content" warning. In accordance with the terms and conditions, Armstrong's copyright infringement policy and federal law, please be advised that if Armstrong receives additional notifications of infringement connected with your Zoom internet service, Armstrong will remove you from your current internet service level and place you at a lower service level. So essentially saying...
Here's the other problem with that, is that the ISP doesn't want to do that to you because, you know, you're paying them for a service. They don't want to take less money from you, right?
That is an that is an interesting...
It really, if it were up to the ISP, they wouldn't care. They just let you do whatever you want.
Wait. Let me ask you a question, though.
It's because they get in hot water if they let people continue to do that.
Okay. It doesn't say in here, or maybe it does, and I just haven't read down far enough, but is it possible that the ISP charges you for the same price that you would have had for your contracted service but slows your speeds as, say, a punishment?
Wow, can't you just cancel your subscription then and then come back and be like, yeah, I want to subscribe to your internet service? So.
No, because I think don't they generally tie that to your like address?
I mean, I'm sure. See,
because here's the problem.
I'm sure they maybe have a way to do that. Well, I wouldn't be surprised knowing how ISPs work sometimes if that was actually a workaround.
Yeah, so basically the idea is here, the TLDR, if you will, is basically internet service provider catches you, using your internet connection for illegal purposes, in this case, copyright infringement. They slow your connection down, and basically that's your punishment. Now, like you said, if you know what you're doing, you can get around it, but...
I get the idea, but I just think there's too many holes in it.
Right? Oh, so here is this is where the artificial intelligence portion comes into. By slowing your connection, what they're saying is that they're slowing it to a point where you actually won't be able to... Now, see, as I think about this now and I'm saying it, they slow it to a point where you won't be able to interact with those devices. But how much bandwidth do you need to interact with those things?
With what things?
Like a Nest thermostat. How much bandwidth do you actually need?
That's pretty slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably not very much.
That's why I said, as I'm thinking...
Thermostat, it can't be anything, really.
So, hold on. So, standard, right? What might open your eyes a bit and possibly even get you to uninstall your preferred BitTorrent client is what can happen if you get bounced to Armstrong Zoom Internet's lowest speed tier. As the letter notes, please be advised that this may affect other services which you may have connected to your internet service, such as the ability to control your thermostat remotely or video monitoring services. Okay, I can see the video monitoring services because that does require some bandwidth. But in terms of not being able to control your thermostat, I feel like that doesn't take that much bandwidth.
If you can't control your thermostat, you probably can't even do so much as browsing web pages.
Wow, they offer up to 1,000 megabits per second download. So, okay, so that's a gig.
I'm sure it costs a fortune,
though. View service levels. Let's see here. Oh, I actually have to put a... let's see here. Do they have... I'm curious to see what... Let's see here. I don't know where they cover. Let's see what's available, and I have to put in. I don't know where they are based out of, so I guess I can't figure that out unless. Hold on, nope, not available in that location. I was going to try to see what they had to offer, but of course it's location by location, and I don't know where they serve. But anyway, so
in any case, here's what I think would happen.
Okay.
They'll catch people who I don't know, heard about some website from a friend that they could download free movies on, right? Oh boy, they're going to catch those people. But the people who do this all the time,
yeah,
they're not going to get caught because they're already bypassing the system.
Oh yeah,
they already have
they're further bypassing it more than likely just past using a VPN. They're probably using like multiple VPNs to like bounce their signal around all over the place. Maybe not. That's the extreme there, but anyway. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this though? Do you think ISP should be able to do that or not?
I mean, I guess they can do that, can't they? It's probably not illegal.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what's illegal and what's not illegal now that the whole net neutrality thing is done.
I mean,
rip
I
net
suppose
neutrality.
I wouldn't be surprised though if there was some kind of like breach of contract.
I don't know about that though, because they are offering you a service, and it's in the terms.
I realize that
it's in the terms of service that says you're not going to do that. So you're technically violating their terms of service.
That's true, but I'm not sure if violating the terms of service gives them the right to do the same back to you.
Unless it's stated in the terms of service.
Unless it is, if it's said in the terms of service, then yeah, they can do whatever they want.
So
that's true.
Anyway, all right.
I mean, if they're doing it, they're probably not stupid enough to do something that's illegal. So it's probably,
I'm sure
if they're doing.
True. Speaking of illegal things, ties great into our next story here. So I guess I didn't know this, but there was an NSA contractor who was arrested in October of 2016. And he plans to actually plead guilty to stealing classified information. So, according to Reuters, the former contractor, Harold Martin, apparently hasn't struck a plea deal, so it's not clear that the case ends here. Now, Reuters reported that there are still 19 other charges levied against this guy. Oh, great.
He's probably screwed.
Probably. So, Martin is alleged to have stolen a significant amount of data. How much data do you think he's stolen?
So, a significant amount, you say, huh?
A significant amount.
What's a significant amount to the NSA? Well, here's the thing. A significant amount could probably be anywhere from a couple gigabytes of very sensitive things to terabytes of just random stuff that he found. So, I don't know. It probably depends what he stole.
Take a guess.
Okay, here. I have to take a guess. Well, I mean, I'm going to go with 10 gigs. I don't
10 gigs?
You can walk in with a flash drive and walk out with 10 gigs, right?
Okay, 10 gigs.
It's probably a huge amount, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes. Let me start with this.
Nowhere, so.
Let me start with this. It's in the
several terabytes. It has to be
several terabytes. Oh yeah, it's several terabytes. It's 50 terabytes.
Oh, that's more than several.
Yes, okay. Way more than several. Yes.
I was thinking like the kind of thing like he walked in and he put a couple specific things on a flash drive, but that sounds like a number that you just walk in and take anything that isn't nailed.
Yes. So 50 terabytes.
Okay, but hold on a second. How did he walk out with 50 terabytes? Like, you know how many portable hard drives you'd have to walk in for that?
It's over the course of more than 20 years.
Oh.
Of working for the NSA.
I was thinking like maybe
you know what? Maybe I should have given you I probably should have given you that information.
If it was over 20 years, it probably would have influenced my estimate.
I didn't read that until afterwards. Yeah, that might have been a critical piece of information for you to have known.
Yeah, maybe.
Regardless, though, like, regardless, 20 terabyte, or, like, not 20 terabytes, 50 terabytes
50 terabytes.
is still a large number.
That's a huge number.
Like, to be honest, that is actually, I think, what is Linus's new, like, okay, no, he has a petabyte. He has a petabyte, okay? So...
Oh, he's got a petabyte?
Yeah.
Petabyte of what?
He's got a storage server that's like a petabyte worth of storage.
Oh, that's fun.
But I don't think, like, even all of, like, Linus Media Group's, like, content is... Well, it might be 50 terabytes. Now that they, like, have Red cameras and stuff like that, so... That record in, like, 8K and... Woo! Anyway. Meanwhile, we're still sitting over here in 1080p, but whatever. Hey, you know what? If it worked, it works. So...
So what exactly did he steal? Obviously, he stole a lot. But,
well, okay,
like, what was included in that?
The documents,
what did he take that was so huge?
The documents were taken from government agencies, including the NSA, the CIA, Cyber Command, and the National Reconnaissance Office.
Several government agencies. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that also changes things a little bit. That means that more than just the NSA are unhappy with him.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's where the 19 other, charges that are levied against him have come from. So the government hasn't said what, if anything, it believes Martin did with the data, but it is said to be very valuable and include hacking tools developed by an elite group with the NSA.
Neato.
Now, back in 2017...
Any chance he dumped it on WikiLeaks?
Oh, goodness.
Just kidding. You don't go dump things on WikiLeaks. Isn't that something they do?
I don't know how they... Well, I'm sure that, like, some people probably, like, give them stuff. I mean,
if he sent it to them, they would probably post it.
Yeah, probably.
But I think it would be interesting if he did.
Well, okay, so here's the ironic thing. Didn't the NSA have some huge, like... I think back in 2017.
Did. We talked about it a while back.
Yeah, they had some huge, like hacking tools that got, like, exploited. Yeah, because I think it was part of WannaCry.
They got leaked, didn't they?
Leaked, yeah, and I think it was actually part of WannaCry. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. I can't remember. That was too long ago. Was it part of WannaCry? It was part of something. I don't remember if it was part of WannaCry, but it was part of something. So, anyway, I think it's kind of ironic how, like, this is coming out now too, as well as... So, does this mean that we could possibly be seeing, more hacking tools coming out that lead to, I think...
Probably not, because they've already arrested him. I
think to date, yes, they've already arrested him, but what did he do with all the stuff?
I don't know.
See, that is the question. But no, I think WannaCry to date is, like, the largest ransomware attack that there is. I think. I could be wrong on that. So, anyway. All right. Moving on to our next topic. A company that we don't really talk about a lot, but Samsung. Okay? Now, Samsung was plagued. This was last year with the, what was it, the Note 6 or 7 with the exploding batteries?
It was the Note 7.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the Note 7 with the exploding batteries. Yeah, it had to be the Note 7 because it's the Note 8. Okay, Apple didn't come out unscathed either. Remember we had a story about some woman's, like, iPhone blowing up when she, like, answered a phone call?
Yeah, I do remember that. I thought it was hilarious.
Yes, of course you do, because anything that, like, attacks Apple you think is hilarious because you absolutely hate Apple. And meanwhile, me over here, iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, MacBook Pro.
This is disgusting. Oh, no.
Mac Pro G5, Mac Mini.
Well, that one doesn't count because it's so old.
You know what? It still works. I put, what did I put on it? Chrome Egg Rally, which is an old-timey, like, Power PC game, which is like it's a racing game. It's a ton of fun. It is a lot of fun. So anyway, I see that there are 2 people watching. I assume Joe's still watching with us. So, woo. Anyway, so according to multiple reports, some Galaxy Note 8 owners are experiencing issues when they drain their device's batteries completely. So they're not blowing up this time, but it's still battery issues. So, though the problems aren't widespread, those affected will find their dead devices refusing to charge or power on. How fun do you think that must be?
I don't know. So, what does refusing to charge exactly mean?
You literally plug
Does that
it in
mean
and
that it just doesn't register at all? Does it charge and then say it's full very quickly?
I think,
and when clearly it's not.
I think we'll get to that later. I think I think it's stated in here a little bit later, but
because if it just doesn't acknowledge the presence of a charger, it's probably a software thing. At least I would think, maybe.
I would think, but maybe not. So Samsung has confirmed that the issue to Engadget, noting that it has received a very limited number of reports which could be associated with the power management circuit. So that sounds hardware-ish related.
You know, actually, I had an old phone that actually did that. Well, it was a hand-me-down. It was a Droid X.
Oh my goodness! I had a friend who had a Droid. I remember like the stock generic like text tone.
No, I didn't actually mind it. This was like 5 years ago, but it was all right. But anyway, so one time it just stopped charging. It just wouldn't. You'd plug it in and it would just sit there and it would say it had X amount of battery and that it was charging and it would just never go up. That was it. That was it.
Well, okay. So, I mean, the Note 8 hasn't been out long, but isn't it a thing where batteries can get to a point where they just, like, will only charge so much and they won't accept any more charge?
Yeah, but I think we even did put a new battery in it and it still didn't work. And after that, after that, not only that, but it would, the fact that it would acknowledge the charge and it would just sit there and it would say it's charging at X% and it would never go. So that's not really a case of a shot battery. That's just I think we chalked it up to some hardware failure somewhere else.
Well, okay, so if you have a Samsung Galaxy 8 and this problem is affecting you, Samsung says, just claim the warranty on it, which makes sense, right?
Yes.
As Sam Mobile notes, though, some users are finding that Samsung might replace their newer Galaxy Note 8s with now let me know how you feel about this, with a refurbished Galaxy Note 8s.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you think about it, sometimes getting a refurb means that you get an almost new device that's basically had a maintenance pass on it done by the manufacturer. It's not terrible. It's just...
That is true.
I guess...
Well, do they test everything, though, or do they just fix what they need to fix? I guess I don't know how the whole refurb thing works.
I guess I don't know. Good question.
See, I guess I don't know how the whole refurb thing works.
So but I mean, it's probably not as bad as people think it is, but it is misleading, and that's bad.
Okay, so you were asking if it's a hardware thing or a software thing. It's unclear whether it actually is a hardware thing or a software thing. Some users report that their phone does show the charging circle when connected to a power source, but refuses to actually charge.
So, like what I was talking about with my old phone did.
Hold on. Others are saying, however, though, that the phone gets warm when connected, but the screen remains blank.
Oh, okay. So we've got multiple different things happening potentially.
Yeah, and it's a similar theme with wireless charging. The blue charging light on the charger comes up, but the phone remains unresponsive, suggesting the software might be to blame. I guess I don't know enough or
don't
have seen
think I do
anything
either.
I haven't seen a Samsung Galaxy S8, charging or anything like that, or with this problem. So I guess I can't comment on like what I speculate is happening. So, I mean, okay. And this is my opinion. I am not a hardware person. I'd be curious to know what you think. But see, here's the thing: is that if I plug it in and I see the charging circle, but the thing is not charging, I guess you could say that that is a software issue, maybe. I don't know though. Is it a hardware issue then at that point too? See, this is the
Probably
interesting
could
thing.
be either. It probably could be either, I think.
And I think that's what they're saying, that they have no idea what it actually is, whether it's a hardware thing or it's a software thing. So,
Because it could be a piece of hardware that's blocking it, that's preventing it from being able to charge.
which could also
It
explain
could
while it's
also
getting
be a
warm.
software thing that's.
I guess yeah.
I'm sure Samsung knows, but
So, so to get a little more gas in your smartphone's tank, you can also try a procedure known as stack charging. Do you know what that is?
nope.
Okay. And so it's going to be it's super annoying. So basically, what you do, you take your dead device and plug it into your charger for around 10 to 15 seconds. Unplug it, wait 30 seconds, and then repeat that process. Now, I don't know if you repeat it until it's fully charged or just until
Probably not until it's fully
starts.
charged. Wait.
Definitely going to take some time.
Yeah, that sounds very annoying.
And there's no guarantee that it's actually going to work. But your smartphone CPR of sorts could eventually allow it to process a normal charge. So, anyway. So, I believe PC Magazine, is where the article's from, are unable to comment further until we, or maybe that's actually Samsung. Somebody says that they are unable to comment further until we obtain more specific information from the phone. Yeah, it sounds like this is coming from Samsung. Any consumer with questions about their device should contact us directly at 1-800-SAMSUNG so that we can help them. Yeah, that's from Samsung. On the plus side, though, at least the charging issue affecting some of Samsung Galaxy Note 8 smartphones isn't going to cause your device to burst into flames.
Yeah, I think we're making progress.
Yeah. Yes, it was the Galaxy Note 7. So it was the Galaxy Note 7s that were having the problem. So, anyway.
It sounded right. I thought it was 7 because I was like, 7? Yeah, that sounds right.
So, and the iPhone 6s or the 6 phone or the iPhone 6 Plus. There we go. Too many darn numbers and letters and acronyms.
Bendgate. I love Bendgate. It was hilarious.
Bendgate. That's what they called it.
Bendgate with the iPhone? Yeah, the one where it would bend in your pocket. And there was like
Crack.
a bunch of pictures that were like parodied Apple advertisements. They're like, yeah, this is a feature, curved phone.
I remember when the AirPods came out. The thing that kept going around was, I've already lost them and I haven't even gotten them yet. Or I already lost one, I haven't even gotten them yet.
It's probably pretty easy to lose them.
They're expensive too. I have no need for buying them, so I'm not going to. See, here's the thing, okay? I have Apple devices, right? But the Apple devices I have, with the exception of possibly my Apple Watch, like the Apple devices that I have, I do actually, for the most part, have them for a reason. My MacBook Pro, that is my portable machine. I guess I can't comment on the Mac Pro G5. Well,
Yeah,
actually, I
but
can.
Ancient technology, it doesn't count.
It was going to be a primary computer until I realized that it was a power PC, and then I don't know.
Well, I hope it was cheap.
It was cheap-ish. it is Mac. So, but it also did come with like the original box and like a ton of stuff. So original box, original software, keyboard, mouse. So it pretty much came with like almost everything. So, and it had a hard drive in it, which a lot of them don't seem to have. But that was going to be like my primary computer until I found out that I really couldn't do anything with it because it was a Power PC, which I didn't know anything about at the time. I don't
That's
know.
a bit of an issue.
I don't know if you actually know like the whole Power PC issue or not.
Can't run x86 software.
It can't run any. Yeah, it can't run like any x86 software because it's like its own platform basically.
It's a different architecture.
Yeah, it's exactly it's its own architecture. You should see. Well, I think we've opened up the
I have seen it. It actually
the heat
was
sinks
quite
on that
cool.
thing.
It was quite neat.
Yeah, the heat sinks on that thing though are massive. Anyway, so no, and they were built by like I think Apple contracted like Motorola to build the processors for them. I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I remember correctly.
Sounds familiar.
Anyway, so realized that was going to be a problem, so then I bought the Mac Mini, which I used as a primary machine for a while, and now it's actually running as a MySQL server in the house.
The heck do you need a MySQL server for?
I have some software that requires like a database to be able to locate certain things. So anyway, and it's also acting as a print server for my iPad Pro, and so I can print to my printer, and which I don't do very often, but anyway. And then it's also running some software to keep track of what my home IP address is, so I can have if I have a domain name, but I don't actually have it linked to anything yet in the house really. But like I could set up a web server here, and then it would keep track of it. It basically gives me a static IP address, kind of, sort of ish. It's like DNS. That's what it is. So anyway, maybe we'll actually do something with that at some point in time, and then make a video about it. I don't know. We'll have to explore options. Anyway, okay. Getting into kind of our main topic for the week, which, Zach, you're going to have to carry most of this because I don't really understand any of it. But before we do that, I have to do this.
I'll do my best, but I don't either. Hate to tell you.
Well, let's get into the Microsoft news first, which is... So
kind of relevant to this other thing.
It is relevant to this thing. So we're talking about Meltdown and Spectre, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's not good
because like it opens up like a huge security kind of bug, doesn't it?
It opened up an enormous security Pandora's box,
which affects pretty much every single processor on the market right now.
Meltdown is a mostly Intel thing, but Spectre, yeah. If your processor does branch prediction, you're affected.
Yay! What is branch prediction? Let's explain that. I don't actually know what it is.
The CPU will use idle cycles and it will look at what's going on and it will think, what can I take care of right now while I'm not busy? And it will find something to do that it thinks it will need to.
Okay, so let's do this. I know we were going to do Microsoft news, but you know what? Let's tie these two things in together. I think, honestly, what we need to do, we actually need to talk about what the problem is first before we can talk about what Microsoft is doing to...
That's fair.
To, like, shall we say, correct the issue? I hope.
Well, it's not necessarily Microsoft's job, but at least to... patch Windows users.
which is funny because
it's not actually Microsoft's screw up. It was
that is true. That is true. For once Microsoft did not mess something up. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No.
Like for once they didn't. Which, okay, now I have to talk about this real quick here. So, Zach, when was the last time you did a Windows update?
2 days ago.
Before that?
November?
Was it November?
Yep. Because I honestly forget what was happening in November, but there was some security thing that I decided I needed to be patched for.
So Zach, welcome to the Fall Creators Update.
Nope, don't have it.
What do you mean you don't have it? How
Nope,
did you get a
don't have it.
patch, but you're not on the Fall Creators Update?
Funny story. So, I'm messing around with this. I'm trying to get this patch right for build 15.11, which is like kind of the OG Windows 10, the before the anniversary trash, before the Fall Creators trash. I don't want that trash. I just want the security stuff. Thank you very much.
Again,
But,
thank you, Microsoft,
so,
for installing updates without my permission.
So I'm messing around with that. I'm trying to get just the security stuff, and then I see it's downloading the Fall Creators Update. Oh no, thanks Microsoft. I totally didn't want this, but you know what? Fine, whatever. Just do it. Just get it over with, please. Just get it over with. And it attempted to get it over with, and then it rebooted, and then it did its thing, and it rebooted again, and then it booted up, and it blue screened. Oh, and then it booted up, and it blue screened again. Oh, fantastic. And then it, fortunately, it was way less painful than it potentially could have been. It decided that was not a good idea, and it rolled.
So it rolled back. So then how did you get this?
Rolled back to build 15.11, which is the one that.
Okay. So where did the security patch go?
It's still installed. There is a security patch for 15.11.
Okay, interesting. Fun. And exactly what's going through Zach.
I could look through my update history. I looked at the update history. I made sure I had all of the latest updates except for the upgrade to the creators upgrade in giant air. But I made sure. And then I promptly disabled Windows Update.
So you just disabled the service, basically.
Yep. And then it will just not check anymore.
Right.
Or if you ask it to check, it will complain that something is wrong.
You have disabled the Windows Update service. Oh no, the world is going to blow up.
I think it. Let's see.
That's like when you turn off.
It actually just says my device is up to date. Last checked yesterday.
That's like when.
Here we go. There were some problems installing updates, but we'll try again later. That's what it says.
I love Windows, like when you turn off like the firewall or whatever, and it's like, oh no, the world's gonna blow up now. That you like. Like, no.
There will probably come a time when I have to update because they will just quit providing security patches for this build, and that will make me.
That'll make you what? You cut yourself off the end.
And that will make me sad.
Yeah. Then you can go to the anniversary update.
You're killing me.
Well, I mean...
Well, at that point, I might as well just get the latest update because then I can hold on to it for the longest amount of time possible.
That is
before
true.
Being forced out of it.
Now, okay, when we talked about it before, I know we're getting off track here, but when we talked about it before, like, the Fall Creators Update was, like, taking away some things, or so Microsoft said. Whether they actually did or not, yeah. Anyway, taking things away, giant air quotes.
Yeah, basically, getting that update was a bit of a minefield. Would not recommend.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you know,
people who aren't like me and have those updates installed already,
to be fair, if you had, now this is an important thing here with this huge security flaw being in here now, it is important to remember to update your devices to help protect yourself.
Well, here's the other problem is that, like, it's kind of a you're screwed no matter what situation because, well, what would you rather have? Would you rather have to upgrade to the new garbage version of Windows the new version that you don't want, or would you rather potentially have software able to steal your passwords out of kernel memory? Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of the problem.
It's kind of not good.
Yeah. So
Like
that's part of the
we're talking
problem
about a
with.
really serious problem.
Yeah. So that is part of the problem with this uh, whole meltdown and Spectre
It,
bug.
I don't think there's actually any information about just what exactly can be accessed and to what extent. But
So okay. So let's do
the worst
this.
case scenario is we could steal passwords out of protected memory. Not good. Not good. That's not good.
So let's do this because again, I really don't know anything about it. You've read more than I have, so
Yep.
I'm going to let you take the lead here and tell us what you actually know about this whole meltdown and Spectre bug thing, and then from there we'll move into what's happening with how Microsoft is responding.
Okay, so basically, um, there's two things which are happening here. We've got Meltdown and we've got Spectre, and Meltdown is kind of the immediate concern right now that we've got to worry about because it affects Intel and a couple of ARM CPUs. It's
Okay,
and
hold on.
it's also fixable by an operating system patch. So not only is it fixable, but it affects a huge number of people. Spectre is the other one that we're talking about here, and it's less clear how to fix it. Well, it's clear how to fix it, kind of. It's the way to fix it though is a hardware redesign. So
Okay,
fun.
so what does that mean? A hardware redesign, like totally redesigning the processor, like how it
kind of basically they have to change the way CPUs handle branch prediction.
Okay.
To not let this happen.
So is that going to be a hardware thing that's specifically done on the chip, or is there something that can be done in software to correct that problem?
Okay. You can in software there are mitigations which are being kind of pushed out that help to prevent at least one variant of the Spectre attack, the one that's easier to do. So that's a good. The one that will remain is somewhat difficult and doesn't necessarily and couldn't necessarily access protected memory, but it can attempt to read memory which belongs to another process.
Okay. And so
However, it requires software to be running on your computer. It can't just like be done through the browser or something silly. So,
right. But
in that case, I mean, I guess if they're able to get software onto your computer, you also have other problems. I don't know. Like,
the thing is though is like, okay, so you say, like, you mentioned a good thing with browser here, but like I think the thing you have to remember is like if you're typing in a password, that's being stored in memory as you're
that's being stored in this protected memory.
Yes,
so
which is
basically
somewhat accessible ish, if I understand
so
correctly.
what's happening here? So okay, so the operating system uses it. It kind of abstracts your RAM address space. Sort of. Does that make sense? It will abstract it into what's called virtual addresses, and these are stored in the page table, which is at least to some extent cached on the CPU. This page table. Now, let's see, we have the address space for programs, and we have an address space for the kernel, which is a low-level piece of software. And so basically, this meltdown attack, it attempts to use differences in how long it takes the CPU to process a request for information to determine what is in the kernel's address. So what that doesn't tell you, though, is what exactly could be accessed by doing this. And I don't know if anyone knows that, or anyone who does has not disclosed.
And so that's what's making this whole thing
that's what makes
deal.
It bad, because that's kernel memory. That's like kind of a black box. Don't go in there.
So, okay, so
because things like passwords and private keys could be in there.
Okay.
Like, if it's true that someone could steal that information by doing this attack, then that's bad.
Yes.
Like, they could steal passwords in real time. Bad.
So it's almost like having a keylogger of sorts.
I guess, except not only do you get the passwords, but you probably also get what those passwords go with. Like, you could say, this is the password for the bank account. Oh, great. Time to log into this person's bank.
So, okay, so this is...
I may have butchered that explanation a little bit.
Well, okay,
I hope I got it a little bit right.
Let me
That's
read
about what I understand. It has to do with this abstraction layer, and it exploits a flaw.
Okay, so TLDR. So this is what the article says here. So, a brief recap of the problem. Modern processors perform speculative execution. Explain that real quick in layman's terms.
I think I tried to do that earlier. The processor will attempt to determine a set of instructions that it will need for later, and it will just run them during idle cycle.
So, and if it gets it right...
worst case scenario, you just toss them out, and you're no worse off than if you had sat idle during that time. If you get it right, then congrats, you used idle cycles to do something productive.
Yes, more productive. To maximize performance, they try to execute instructions even before it is certain that those instructions need to be executed. Oh, wow. So I asked you for an explanation when I didn't really need to because it's right here in front of us. For example, the processor will guess which way a branch will be taken and execute instructions on the basis of that guess. So if the guess is correct, great. The processor gets more done without having to wait to see if the branch was taken or not. Now, if that guess is wrong, like Zach said, it basically just tosses it and we move on.
Result.
So while the speculative execution does not alter program behavior at all, the Spectre and Meltdown research demonstrates that it protrudes the processor state in detectable ways.
It is.
So this perturbation?
Not sure, but basically it can measure differences in how long it takes the CPU to service a request.
Using those timings,
sometimes as small as several cycles difference in time.
Okay, and so
using those differences, it can somehow determine what is in memory that it does not have access.
Interesting.
So, well, again, the big what if is, well, how much can it determine?
So the information leakage can be used directly. For example, a malicious JavaScript in a browser could steal passwords stored in the browser. It can also be used in tandem with other security flaws to increase their impact.
There's the other thing. That's the other thing with this Meltdown thing. That's why it's kind of important to fix this one right now, because this can be run through the browser.
Yes, JavaScript for years has been a major security flaw, even without this whole...
The other thing that they're doing with browsers is a lot of browser developers have released patches that decrease the precision of timers which are available to JavaScript, because this attack needs those super high precision timers to be effective. And by reducing the precision of available timers, it can make it harder to do. Although I think that mitigation more applies to Spec.
Like I said, I guess I don't know enough about this whole thing. And I haven't had a chance to really do all the research that I need to do.
This is a computer science thing, and it kind of makes my brain hurt. It really does.
This is one of those, yay for other people doing our jobs time. Like,
Yeah.
there are far smarter people who understand more about this stuff that I kind of sort of
Yep,
need to know
pretty
about.
much.
Like, just
But
give me
it's
the
a
TLDR,
huge deal, so we'd better talk.
right? Just give me the TLDR, and then tell me what I kind of like. What does it do? Why is that important? And how do I fix it? Which, okay, what does it do? It exploits, you know, it exploits stuff in the processor basically. Well, what did you say it does? It exploits
Hardware flaws.
Yeah, it exploits hardware. Okay, that's a good way to put it. It exploits hardware flaws, which then can lead to programs and other things reading sensitive information that shouldn't be read, that should be kept private. And so we have now answered what it does, why it's important.
Not really, but to the best of our ability, thumbs up.
Quote unquote. Anyway,
Ugh.
layman's terms, TLDR. But how do you protect yourself? Install patches and wait for
here's the other thing.
Intel and other companies.
You're probably not protected yet because this is kind of
probably not
spur of the moment.
Right? Okay. So what do you do to keep yourself protected?
You can protect yourself from meltdown by installing operating system patches. That's good.
In terms of Spectre, are we just kind of screwed?
We're just talking about meltdown for that. There are two variants of the Spectre attack.
Oh, great!
And I think, let's see. So one of them can be patched to some extent, I think, by a CPU microcode update, which Intel will probably be pushing sometime soon. TM.
Okay, so when they do, is that just like a software patch thing that gets installed?
Yeah, it's for your CPU.
Okay.
It will. Let's see. So
hang on. Do we see anything lower level, such as like?
It's very low level.
Like BIOS updates.
That's actually
possibly?
Very low level. Microcode is like run on your CPU.
So, like I said, do we see anything with like BIOS updates or anything like that, possibly, or do you not know?
I've not heard of anything like that.
Because I mean, I know the BIOS is pretty low level, like
it is, but like the microcode is transparent to the operating system, I believe. So it's pretty low level already. We're talking.
Okay. So, yeah. So
I wish I had a different article up right now that I found yesterday and have since lost because did a great job of outlining the difference between the variants of the Spectre attack.
Are you talking about the Ars Technica one that you sent me?
No, I have that one. Don't worry.
Like I said, I haven't had enough time to actually do any research really on this. I've been so busy that I basically...
Let's see.
I know that it exploits stuff in the processor. I
can at least tell you about the... Oh, right, okay. So the variant... The one variant that is probably going to be more difficult to get rid of and might be with us for a while is the... I guess, I don't know if it would be 1 or 2 or whatever you want to call it, but it's the one that requires a compromised piece of software to be on your computer.
Okay.
And it can attempt to read memory which belongs to another process.
Compromised piece of software. So, layman's terms, what does that mean?
That means a malicious program has to be running on your computer, not like through the browser or anything like that. Okay. So it's a little bit more difficult to actually exploit in practice.
So I think I also saw something about how like software companies are also going to have to like possibly put patches out. Things like that for their software.
I think what that means is that a software maker can patch their software so that a malicious piece of software cannot use this attack to read memory from their software.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep. So, yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So not
Windows
only
all of a sudden has like 20 things that like need to be updated. like your phone.
Not only do you have to be running the malicious code on your computer, but you also have to be running a vulnerable piece of software that code can target. It's not so easy to actually exploit this one. So
Okay.
you're kind of safe there.
So as long as software developers figure out how to patch their software, that kind of leads to that's kind of the, shall we say, quote unquote fix for this variant of Spectre then?
The fix?
Well, okay. So what you were saying is part of the vulnerability is having a piece of software that is vulnerable to being attacked by the exploit.
But what that means is that this exploit could be run on that piece of software. It doesn't mean that, or it only affects that piece of software, right? Like this attack could be run on that vulnerable piece of software to gather information about memory belonging to that piece of software.
Okay.
Not anything else.
And the fix to that then is to patch the software.
Patch the software. Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. So that, quote unquote, kind of sort of fixes the problem.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Ish.
Kind of. But really, the real fix is for CPUs to not exhibit this predictable behavior anymore. And that's a hardware redesign kind of thing. And also, beyond what I know,
yeah, a lot of the stuff goes over my head because it probably
me
makes
too.
a little more sense to you than it does to me.
Perhaps, but it still makes my brain
hardware
hurt.
stuff. Dude, if your brain hurts, imagine mine right now. Like, so, let me address something real quick here. Is that we are, technology students, so we're still learning about a lot of this stuff. And what this show is for us to share our thoughts and what our understanding of things are. And
we're also not computer science people.
That is true. But here's the thing. And I've never claimed this before. I don't think Zach has ever claimed this before, but we have never claimed to know everything about what we are talking about.
Or anything.
Yeah, we get things wrong sometimes. You know what? I wasn't gonna do this, but let me put this out there right now, just because we received a comment a few weeks back about some inaccurate information in our show, and if that is the case, then we apologize. Like I just said, we don't claim to know everything. At least I haven't. Zach, I'm pretty sure you haven't.
Anybody who does is a stupid idiot.
Okay, let's not offend anybody here. Let's be professional about this.
No. I said anybody who claims to know everything about it is a stupid idiot. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm trying to be professional about this, but anyway. And the other thing about, all of this is as I stated before, we have, we're on break now, but at least for me, I have not only a full class load of, college courses to take, but I also have a full-time job. So, finding that time to always find, sit down and find the information about these topics, like, I have a limited time to do that. So I try to gather what I can, but, like I said, I don't always have time to gather everything I need. And we try to put a show together every week. And the point of this show more is to have a place to, talk about what's happening in the tech world and talk about it so that it's out there. One of the great things about, having a live stream is that there is a chat. And we encourage anyone who is watching who may know more about this stuff than we do to chime in and actually become a part of the show and stuff like that. I'm not offended by somebody saying that, hey, this is actually what all of this means. And I don't know about you, Zach, but I don't think you'd be offended by that either.
I'd love it if somebody told me I was full of crap about all of that, because maybe they
Right. Well, and as we've seen, when we had one of our other viewers on, I don't know what actually happened to him. Maybe just busy. And I know he lives in the UK, so the time difference and things like that. But he interjected some things into the show that were actually valuable and things that we didn't even know about. He had a better understanding of those things. So again, by
A lot
all
of Linux
means,
stuff, I think, right?
yeah, it was about Linux stuff. So yeah, by all means, I just want to put that out there. Like I said, again, we don't claim to know everything. This is just supposed to be an area where we talk about tech, and sometimes we get things wrong. And so I just want that understanding out there. Things like that. So anyway, is there anything? Well, we have not talked about. I know I got off track there, but I actually did. I wanted to address that. So anyway, so we've talked about what Meltdown does and everything. So you know what? Considering the fact that none of us really actually know the full details about this, and we've tried to explain it the best we can, let's explain what Microsoft's approach to, shall we say, quote unquote, fixing this.
That's a little more, a little easier to understand. Basically,
So,
there is I think,
yeah,
labeled
let's talk about
critical security patch that's probably out now. Is out now. Definitely out now. Not probably.
Yes. It is the reason you had to
That's
lose
the
Screens to
extent
Death.
of what I know about the Microsoft response. I know because I had to get the up.
Now, see, here's the weird thing.
Not much fun.
I don't remember.
It probably did it silently. You can look at your installed updates or your update history, and you can probably see it there.
Okay, I don't actually play around in Windows Update that much. And oh yeah, view installed update history. Update for Windows 10 version 17.09 for x64 base systems. KB405843.
I don't know the number for it, but I just know that depending on the date, it's probably right.
This makes updates reliability improvement this makes reliability improvements to Microsoft Store and fixes the issues that could cause app update failure. Okay, so maybe that's not it. Let's see. Quality updates. Oh. Windows malicious software removal tool for Windows 8. 8. What? No.
If I could be bothered to re-enable my update service, I could probably tell you the exact name of it, but nope, don't know.
I actually don't know if I have the patch.
If it was an early January update, you probably.
The latest thing I see is like the 16th.
It might be different for you because of the. You have build 1709, I think. Didn't you say, right? The Fall Creators update garbage.
Yeah.
That I specifically avoided.
See, here's my thing. And you know what? I do have an additional system, but I don't know if I've decided what I'm going to do with it yet. At one point in time, I wanted to have a like a test bench, basically, that had the like Windows Insider, stuff on it.
Oh, right. I think actually that some of this stuff was included in an Insider preview build. And at the time, nobody knew what it was for because nobody had disclosed these bugs. But these issues were
this is the other thing
to some large companies that are affected.
I saw this. I saw this. That by the way, nice job not opening the rundown at all.
Huh?
I said, nice job not opening the rundown.
Hey, we're rolling. We're rolling fine. I don't need it.
No, but I would prefer for you to have it open during shows. No.
Next week, I promise.
What I did see. Okay, fine. I'm going to hold you to that. That's.
I should never have said that. Mistakes were made.
I'm going to isolate that clip and save it.
Mistakes were made.
Anyway,
in any case,
you know what? I think Joe's still watching. He can be the witness that you said that.
Oh, Great.
In any case,
Whatever.
in any case, well, it still says we have 2 people watching. I would assume Joe's still watching. If you are, let me know, Joe. Just be like, yes, I will hold Zach to that. Anyway,
Oh, you saw nothing.
it's like times like this where I wish I had an instant replay, but I don't. Anyway, Joe says Iowa Witness. Yes.
No. What do you mean? You saw nothing.
Oh man.
Nothing.
In any case, okay, so you mentioned that like some of the stuff was possibly in a Windows Insider update, because here's the thing.
It definitely was.
Here's the thing. I thought I saw this, and maybe you can back me up on this, but like this whole meltdown inspector thing, like, didn't it like kind of sort of actually get leaked before
yes,
companies were ready to,
because
like,
some
Intel was
AMD
ready to...
developer, I think, wrote about this in like patch notes for some like Linux kernel patch or whatever.
And Microsoft and everyone else is like, ah, crap.
Keyed everybody, and no, Microsoft and everybody else already knew about it, but it basically keyed the rest of the world in. Oh, this is what it is, and you know, then it was just like, well, the jig's up. We might as well just
what?
And
you dropped out.
Yeah, I noticed that my connection did have a bit of a moment there. That it was
here we go again.
It was spotted in some Linux fixes patch notes where some AMD developer or whatever talked about. They said something to the effect of, let's see, maybe I can find it. I'm gonna go look.
You're gonna go look. Okay.
I might be able to find it. Hold on. But they basically wrote something that kind of ruined the surprise, really.
The surprise
that gave away what the bug was.
Okay, so as a consumer though, hang on. As a consumer though, isn't it not my right to know? Like,
no. We're talking about responsible disclosure here. This was discovered by some Google researchers, I think, and they privately disclosed this to the company so they could figure out patches and make sure nobody was vulnerable to this stuff before telling everybody about it. Right? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, okay, I guess
AMD guy went and botched everything, so
see, I can see some of this.
All right, let's see.
Where
the AMD developer wrote. Oh, here.
Hold on.
The developer.
Let me interject something here real quick. So, first things first is, okay, I can see, like, this is what the problem is, but we figured out a patch, and then telling, like, everyone about that. Now, here's the other thing. Because it's been leaked now, but see, there's two things to this. First off, is there are the people like you and me who kind of sort of know stuff about computers, who are kind of like, oh, great, this is a security flaw, and we actually understand that it's a big security flaw. And then there are the people who really, really understand it, who are like, oh, crap, probably. Although I can't speak on their behalf.
Things are happening.
And then there are the average consumers who are just like, what? Or who probably don't even know at all, actually. So
I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't know at all.
So, but what I was going to say is that, like, the early knowing without there actually, like, super being a patch and before, like, being super ready, like, companies super ready to actually, like, put it out there, like, does that cause some panic, maybe? Ish? I don't know.
I don't know.
So, I guess, and maybe I'm just, okay, I've used tinfoil hat in the past before, but that's more for conspiracy theories. But anyway, so, I don't know how you feel about this whole thing. Like, to me, it's like, okay, it's like a vulnerability, and I should be concerned, but I don't feel like I'm as concerned as I should be.
I guess it's bigger than most security incidents.
And I think some of this probably attributes to the fact that I don't fully understand it. So it's like,
neither do I. Yeah, I guess
so it's one of those things where it's like,
maybe we are not so worried because we don't know what we're talking about.
yeah. So it's like, okay, somebody stealing my password. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a big deal. But at the same time, it's also one of those things where it's like, well, it sounds like it's affecting everybody, and companies have kind of sort of done what they can, but we're all kind of sort of screwed still. So, like, we're all still sort of kind of screwed. So, what's the point in worrying too much about it? Maybe. And I'll just wait until like somebody actually says that there's a patch. But anyway, okay.
So basically, here's what happened. How this came out was, and there is a Linux patch that attempted to correct this issue, at least the meltdown issue.
Okay.
Some AMD developer contributed something to that patch, and he wrote about it. He said, or he contributed some code that excluded AMD chips from this mitigation, and he said that the AMD microarchitecture does not allow memory references, including speculative references, that access higher privileged data when running in a lesser privileged mode, when that access would result in a page fault. So, and basically, by saying that, he basically told everybody else where to go look for the problem. And everybody else found it.
But that code basically like excludes Meltdown from being able to exploit the exploit, basically.
No. He excluded the fix from AMD CPUs because they're not vulnerable to this one.
Not this one, but they are vulnerable to Spectre.
Yeah, but this is a Meltdown fix.
So okay. Yeah, well, because Meltdown.
Right. The other thing is that this fix does incur a performance penalty for.
Now, see, okay, tasks, I'm glad you brought that up.
It's very negligible, but for some things,
because that's the other thing that was
pretty
part
significant,
of this.
And that's why it was beneficial for them to say, well, let's exclude our CPUs from this because it just hurts the performance.
And that was the other thing that came out, was that this whole thing. So like, okay, this is a problem, but there's a patch. But because of that patch, it sort of somewhat like diminishes the performance.
Yep.
Ish. But what you're saying is it doesn't like,
for most people, most workloads, it doesn't matter. You're not going to see it.
You're not going to notice it. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
You and I aren't going to notice.
Well, I mean, dude,
maybe somebody who's got a server with a ton of VMs on it might notice it.
At this point, though, like, anything new that I get is going to be an improvement over what I have. And so, if I'm happy with what I have right now, like, the small performance decrease that's going to happen, like, not going to notice it probably, so.
Yeah, you're not going to notice because it's probably not even going to... You're probably not even going to see much of a decrease at all, if any, in what kind of stuff that you and I do.
Right.
But now, tinfoil hat on for a moment here. What if this guy, quote unquote, leaked the details on purpose because it was bad for Intel? I don't actually think that they would do that, but it's kind of funny to think about.
So, okay, bad for Intel, therefore making
this is
AMD,
worse for Intel.
Therefore making AMD look better in
because
attempts
AMD chips are only vulnerable to Spectre, but Intel are vulnerable to this even worse bug that is specific to them. So well, we better call them out.
You know what?
Intel, look at this guy over here.
Tinfoil hat-ish, but I didn't think about that. Trying to drive.
It's probably a bunch of crap.
Right?
Don't actually go around saying that, but
right? Gotta drive those
somewhere
sales
down the line.
For
it was
Ryzen.
Like revealed that maybe they did, or if they did do it on purpose.
Yeah, gotta drive those sales for Ryzen, which I don't know.
I doubt anybody went out and bought a Ryzen CPU as a result of this, but
right?
People's opinions of it.
Oh, great. Internet connections are...
I appeared connection problem again. Fantastic.
Hey, you know what? At least this time we made it through the topic without, any problems, really. So...
Yeah. Plus. It seems to be fine now.
And in a few weeks, when you come back, you'll be back on fiber, even though the connection
I will be
some...
back on very much throttled fiber. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even though the connection is very much throttled, but anyway, so yeah, so speaking of, well, okay, so I haven't throttled anything because I don't necessarily know how to do it, even if I don't know if my router can do it. But new router in the house, which, did I tell you about this? I got a new router.
How long ago?
A few weeks ago.
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah, so I don't remember what the model is, but it's a Linksys router. I have finally joined the AC standard for Wi-Fi.
Ooh.
So that means that I not only have a 2.4 gigahertz network, but I have a 5 gigahertz network.
So welcome to actually, that's not exclusive to AC. You can go get an N router that also has both of those antennas.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought that was just an AC thing. Anyway.
Nah, not just an AC thing.
Anyway, so my new router is capable of a gig if I ever wanted to.
Well, here's the other problem is that when you say a gigabit on AC Wi-Fi, it's kind of only in perfect conditions kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's still miles ahead of N, which is 54 megabits.
Right. So even though it doesn't really matter because I don't have a gig connection to the house, and even if
it could affect your transfer speeds in the network, within the network.
That is true, except for the fact that
if you're looking for speeds like that, just plug them in. Honestly.
Well, yeah.
Just plug them in. Don't hassle with Wi-Fi.
Well, you know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of taking the $30 computer that was the router and getting a couple drives for it and putting RAID on it, and then using that as a NAS drive and retiring. Well, maybe not necessarily retiring, but that would be like my new NAS drive, and then I would have to update the switch as well because the switch is only 10100. But that would then give me, at least in terms of moving files around, I would in theory have a quote-unquote gigabit network for moving things around, quote-unquote, because of latency and other issues. And yeah, anyway, so but yeah, that could possibly be a thing, which we could possibly be doing a video on. So anyway, yeah, so here's the thing. I think we have bantered long enough this week. What do you think?
Sure.
So
with
that,
than I thought, actually.
Yeah, well, we got into the whole I was gonna call it WannaCry, but no, the whole Meltdown and Spectre thing. So anyway, but
we got into it quite poorly.
Quite poorly, but yeah. Anyway, our sad attempt to try to explain it, but anyway, so.
I tried.
Hey, you know what? Props. Because I was not much help. So anyway,
I mean, I learned a few things at least reading about this.
Right, and I'm sure in the coming weeks that we're going to start learning more and more about it. So
yes, that's true as well.
So I don't think this debate is done. Just like the debate about net neutrality is not quite done yet either. But
it's not a debate. We're talking facts here. No,
yeah, the future of that anyway. So, yeah. With that being said. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I don't have anything else. I don't think you have anything else. Do you?
Of course not.
So, oh, you know what? Hold on. I did. Nah, there's nothing else I really want to bring up real quick. So, yeah. So with all that being said, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go ahead and end this episode of the Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining us, especially through our poor explanation of this whole big problem. But again,
just go read about it.
Yeah,
go read about it. Honestly.
But again, super big props to Zach for covering that. So,
someone out there, probably lots of people, have written articles that explain it way
better than we have. But anyway, hey, we're just here to have fun, right?
Sure. I learned a ton. reading about it, honestly, and like not even kidding.
So anyway,
Cool stuff.
so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode of the Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed it, big thumbs up would be awesome. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. We'll cry about that later. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Anyways, leave comments below. If you know more about this whole thing, I'd love to see comments below explaining it better. You know, that's the thing. We're a community here. We're here to all, hopefully, be supportive. I would hope, but anyway. So yeah. So I'm going to end this episode of the Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.